Welcome to another Founder Wisdom Pod with Steven Nelemans. Steven is CEO at Luna AI, quality over quantity cold outreach. We're going to talk about that today. He's a serial founder, young guy just like myself. So going to have a lot of fun talking about sales AI today. This pod is brought to you by podpire.com. If you want to start your own podcast or scale it, you can go to podpire.com and I'll help you monetize your pod the unconventional way. Steven, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and Luna.
Thanks a lot for having me. So I'm Steven. I'm from the Netherlands in Europe. Actually, just moved to San Francisco, and I am a serial startup entrepreneur. As you said, founded my first startup at age 19 and back in 2015, which was very cool to do. Learned a lot, raised some funding, grown a team, and sold the company after 5.5 years. And that's actually what led to the founding of Luna. As you can see, this is the newest adventure. We've been working on this company for about 2.5 years right now. And the cool thing about the origin for Luna is that we actually started 1.5 years before ChatGPT was launched. So actually we were thinking of this idea of automating top of funnel outreaches, and we wanted to get past the like, hey, first name, awesome to see you working at company name type of cold outreaches, which is what brings generative AI, right? So we've been thinking about this for I think 6 months until we came in touch with OpenAI through a mutual friend, one of their employees, and they told us about this GPT-3 thing that they were launching, and they gave us a demo, and that was awesome. It was so cool to see what you could do with like technology and text and AI and stuff like that. So that's when we started building. So that that's how we started.
Tell me about your first startup, because exiting your first one or working there for almost 9 years is quite rare. So tell me a bit more about Amber.
Yeah, so Amber was something completely different. We're, of course, in the Gen AI space as we speak, but Amber was a B2B car sharing company. So we were actually helping big enterprise companies in the Netherlands to basically do all of the trips that their employees were driving, fully sustainable. And we built a software platform to facilitate that, where the key point was that normally the thing with car sharing is people don't trust the service, right? So if I need a car and you just took it 5 minutes before me, then the car is gone, I lose my trust, and I'll probably never use the service for anything important ever again. So if you want to have your company and like all of your employees go to their most important business meeting in a shared vehicle, then that means that you need to be sure that the car is always there. And that's why we built an AI algorithm. So no Gen AI and stuff like that. That's currently happening, but the old school version of AI, so to say, where we could predict mobility demand actually. So based on all of the data that we had, we could predict the demand in the future. Had an army of students driving those cars around, keeping them clean and stuff like that. And therefore, we could guarantee that there was always a car available. And that's what we scaled for 5.5 years until we got almost all of the big employers in the Netherlands. And then we sold.
You were 18 years old when you started that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It's funny
that was a lot of
because I
fun.
was thinking about women and beer at this time. You were thinking about B2B car sharing with EVs.
Yeah, we had a strange upbringing, so to say. I founded the company with two of my friends who were also at that age, and indeed, while all of our friends went out drinking, we stayed up late, and we met them at the bar as well. But then we would be there at like 2-3 a.m. after we were done and working, and we wanted to grab one more beer before we went to sleep, and then we would see them fully hammered, and that was a strange time.
My first startup, my first serious one, I think was at 19 or 20, was a nootropic, and yeah, cool idea, right? Epic product, but yeah, couldn't scale it. And you had the stamina to bring it 8 years later, because someone really changes from 18 to, let's say, 26, right? So
100%.
props to you for that. The exit, so you were acquired. How did that change your life and your mindset?
Interesting question. So we the company indeed was acquired, but I took a step back just before it got acquired. So the company grew really fast, especially in terms of team. So after 5.5 years, we had about 85 people working there. And that was also the moment that the entire dynamic within the business changed, because the business is maturing, right? So it's becoming more mature. You need processes, you need all of this operational stuff. And that's where I first learned that I'm a founder. I really like founding a business, going from 0 to 1. And as soon as it becomes bigger, then you at least at that time, I learned a lot since then, but at that time I saw that you need a different kind of expertise and a different kind of experience level in order to bring a business from, let's say, 80 people to, I think 300 is what they are at right now. So that's why I took a step back already. The exit itself, that was very cool to see from like a very close distance. So I learned a lot from that, but it didn't really change. Like, it was like we were planning on dominating the world with that company. We dominated the Netherlands, which was a very good place to start, but basically it just made us more eager for the next one to make it even bigger. And that's we got a lot of experience. We knew a lot of people, and we also knew what not to do, which is very important when you're building a startup, because it's very easy to make multiple mistakes at the same time. But with all of that experience and that drive to make the next one even bigger, that's how we got started at Luna.
You raised 2.2 million for that one, and with Luna, you raised something similar. I see patterns here. What's your take on raising money and how to do it effectively?
The main thing about raising money for me personally is that you should only raise when you absolutely need to. So there's a lot of consequences to fundraising that I think many startup founders, especially first-time founders, don't see. Myself included, right? With the first company, we were raising money because everyone around us was doing that, and the only press releases that you saw from startups was not like, "Hey, we just doubled our revenue," but "Hey, we just got this investor A in for that many millions," and just throwing big numbers around. And what I learned for myself, like what I'm doing for myself, is I'm trying to, well, if I don't have to raise, I'm not going to raise, because the fundraising stuff, it's cool. And you can say like, "Hey, we raised X million and we got all of these brilliant people in," but then starts the collaboration and the partnership with these people for the next 7 years. The entire nature of your business changes as soon as you need to start reporting to investors and stuff like that. So the first thing I always say is that if you don't have to raise, if you can bootstrap your company, I would always say bootstrap it, because that gives you much more freedom and much more, like the probability for success, I'd say, would be higher if you're bootstrapping. But it's also, of course, depending on the technology. If you're building like a deep tech healthcare startup where you need 7 years of researching before you can get any money in, then it's different. But so that's the one thing. And the second thing is, but that's also a personal thing, I always try to fundraise basically not at the top of what we can. So let's say you can raise a round, and instead of raising let's say 1 million round on a 10 million valuation, I'd try to raise like a 500K round on a, let's say, 3 million valuation or something like that. Because the thing is, you can push it higher, and people who are really good at deal making and want to get the most out of it will probably push the round a lot higher. But it also takes much more time, because the decision is different, like the metrics are different, and the multiples on your metrics are different. So everything is different, which stretches the time. And for me personally as well, the time that I spend fundraising is not the time that I can actually put in the work to make my company grow and get more customers in and make the customers more happy and build a better product and stuff like that. So for me, fundraising is at a tech startup is also a necessary evil. So I try to limit the amount of time I spend fundraising, because then in the long term, you'll get the best possible deal, because you'll build a better company.
Where did the idea of Luna came from?
It actually came from the first startup, where like that's what sparked the idea. So we had a sales team trying to get in touch with all of these enterprise companies, and these people were really good at what they're doing, but they were spending most of their time indoors, right, sitting behind their laptop trying to get in touch with other companies and stuff like that. And that was what sparked me, because top of funnel work is very important, because of course you need to have your first foot in the door to actually get in touch with people and start working towards closing a deal. But people were spending, for that small part of the sales funnel, they were spending like most of their time to get in touch with these people. And I tried out different automation strategies. So we tried out LinkedIn and email and stuff like that. But it was, apart from booking meetings, it was also harming our brand, because for every meeting, for every response that says like, oh, awesome, let's book a meeting, we also got 5 responses in like, stop spamming me, take me off your list, stuff like that, right? And as a company that has a relatively small addressable market, you want to be very very careful with your brand reputation. So that's actually what got us to think. And when we could build everything with existing technology, apart from the actually writing of the emails, and that's what that's where OpenAI then came in. And since then, we've been progressing and building our own models and doing a lot of more advanced and awesome stuff. But our first version was basically the missing piece of the puzzle was OpenAI at the time.
Yes, it was. How have you implemented the various versions of ChatGPT, and what kind of difference have you seen from 3 to 4, which I guess was one of the most significant?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So what we do, like we started from the very beginning. It was not just like an OpenAI call to GPT-3 or GPT-4 saying like, hey, I want to send this email to Charles. What should I say? And then you'd get like a randomized email. We already said from the beginning that we have multiple language models working together that are very good at what they're doing. So changing from 3 to 4 in that sense would not mean like 100% change, but it would only impact like a part of the platform that was responsible for the creativity part. And that's basically what we did. Is we started testing a lot. So that's what we normally do. We've been doing cold outreach ourselves for a long time before Luna as well. So we had some experience with what works and what doesn't work. And yeah, then we just started testing. And that's also the cool thing. You hear a lot of people talking about RLHF, like the reinforcement learning with human feedback, which you can do with ChatGPT. If you say like, hey, I get these two responses. Do you like A or do you like B? That's of course human feedback. We do that as well, because we can see which emails are approved by our users and which are not. We can see which emails generate responses and what kind of responses. We have our own models that estimate buying intent. So we know also not only that a response is positive, but how likely is this person to actually move forward towards closing a deal. And we have all of this stuff, and that makes it really cool to in what we're doing.
The experience is so smooth on the app. Who's your UX person?
Actually, one of my co-founders. We his internal name is the machine, our CTO, because this guy can do design, front end, back end, and AI. Basically, the first version of Luna he built all by himself, which was really cool. And then funny thing is, we've been working on this company, like on this platform, for 2.5 years, of course. But the interesting thing is that the things we get the most positive feedback on is the stuff that has been there from the very beginning, which is cool. So the very first sketch that we made, like there's this, for example, onboarding, where normally if you onboard into a new sales platform or SaaS platform, sorry, then you have these questionnaires and you have this tool tips and guides and everything. And we said, well, if you onboard someone new and you onboard someone within your team, let's say a new salesperson, a new SDR, then you're probably going to talk to them and they're going to ask you questions and you're going to answer these questions, and you're basically feeding their context and feeding their knowledge base by answering questions. So that's also why we built a static version of a chatbot that's just going to ask you a couple of questions about your business and then transfer all of that into your first emails and stuff like that. That's what worked really well.
Shout out to Robin the Machine. The price
100%.
point, $850 a month. It's quite expensive, but it's also somewhat unique in its kind. How do you justify that? Like on your onboarding, you're like, yo, you're gonna get 10x that return. So that should be 10K a month that I should generate with it. So how do you deal with that?
Interesting question. So our price point is indeed high compared to other cold emailing tools. Also, like some AI cold emailing tools as well. Like the main thing is we've been investing into the quality of the outreach a lot, and where other companies stop at, hey, this is an AI generated email. We're going like there's reinforcement learning everywhere in the platform, but it's not only the way that the email is written, like what's the content of the email, it's also who are we going to send it to, right? Or what time is the best possible time to send? What's happening in between the sequence? Are emails being opened? Are like links being clicked and stuff like that, which influences the next email. So basically what we say is we're trying to improve the quality much more so that people do not have to rely on quantity anymore. Because everyone, like every cold email expert you talk to, one of the things they'll probably say is cold outreach is a numbers game, which it of course also is. But by really investing and focusing on the quality of the outreach and not only the contents of the email, but like the total package, we're trying to reduce the noise and we're trying to lower the number of emails you need to send in order to get replies. And that's also the interesting thing is because it's not only randomized replies where you basically send an email to 1,000 people and then get a couple of responses. Luna really tries to find your ICP with the highest possible deal value, and that means that in the long term, your return will also be a lot higher. And this is how we have been able to justify it so far.
Why isn't Apollo deploying that? And how can you compete against customizable self-made AI like Clay, for example?
I think the Apollo question is interesting. Like Apollo is a brilliant company and a brilliant platform because they're really doing everything at the same time, which I think personally is also what makes it more difficult. So if you're doing everything at the same time, then you also you also need to be able to be an expert at every single field. They have a lot of features, they have a lot of possibilities, they have their entire UI where you can go wild and you can spend your entire day if you want to. Where we as Luna have always tried to make people things as simple as possible. That's also like one of the things that, for example, Michelangelo also said is that there's beauty in simplicity, and that's what we've been trying to do from the very first moment we started working on Luna. It's actually also our most important core value as a company. We're trying to keep everything that we're doing simple. We're making everything simple for us, for the customer, for our partners, for everyone. And that's how we've been able to get so far, because we're really focused on that one thing. We're going to build the best possible cold outreach. And we also didn't have any tech debt, for example. Apollo has been around for a while. So they started a couple of years ago and have been integrating AI into the solution. But we were fortunate enough to basically build our business upon AI. We knew already what the capabilities of Gen AI were before we even started writing the first line of code. And that's also what's been helping us significantly. So I think that's also what's keeping us apart. The only thing we need to do now is out execute everyone. Just need to be faster.
Is that the solution to out execute everyone or get more capital, get more smart team members, be tighter with your clients, write down their features, possibly have a vote roadmap? What would be the solution to out execute these behemoths?
The main important, like everyone that's talking about startups and is giving advice to startups probably also says the same thing, and I'm going to say it as well because we keep on experiencing every day how important it is to focus. So what we did with Luna, we got a lot of people, and like most of our growth actually comes from referrals, which is awesome, and it basically is a luxury problem to have because there's a lot of free customers coming in, but the quality of these customers in terms of, hey, do they really know what cold outreach is, or are they going to stay there for the long term, or are they just driven by the AI hype and want to AIify, let's say, their company? So the quality is not always constant, And what we did, we made a couple of months ago, we made the decision, like we're only going to be building for one specific ideal customer profile. So we have one persona in mind, and we see from everything that's happening, we see that these people are experiencing the biggest pains, and that Luna is the best solution for them right now to solve that. We're only going to be building for them, and then as soon as we nail it, then we're going to be able to accelerate within this market. And then we'll like start using, like we're using Luna already, but we'll scale up our Luna usage. We'll probably do some other growth stuff in order to get as many of these people as possible. But as soon as they know that Luna is the best possible solution for them, they will also start telling them each other, and then we can accelerate. And that also means some concessions. So that also means that people who want to pay for our platform right now and they want to use it, and they say that they are going to use it for the long term, we might not even be working with them. We might not even be accepting them as a customer, or as YC sometimes frames it, like firing our customers. That's also what we sometimes do if they take up too much time and they do not give any valuable feedback, which feels very contradictory as a startup founder, because you want to build a big company and you want to like grow in revenue and show everything to your investors and to your team and basically get that pace going. But yeah, the most important thing that has been accelerating us so far is just laser focus on one ICP, build the perfect product for them, and then you can expand afterwards. But first, try to nail that first one.
And what growth hacks are you using? For example, are you using your own product to outreach a bunch of people yourself?
100%. So that's actually how we kicked off. We started using Luna ourselves, and then everything we encountered which didn't work or we didn't find intuitive or easy to use, we just started changing. So that's we were our first biggest customers, and we are still because we're using Luna at a very big scale. But because we have that focus, we slowed it down a bit because we do not want to have too many ICP customers in when we do not have the perfect product for them yet. So we're doing that also to basically we're using Luna to keep it going. But that has been the best possible growth hack for us so far. Also because we have a benefit, right? Like if people see an AI generated email but they like it, then still it gives us the benefit of the doubt. So us using Luna is also a big amplifier in that sense for our outreach, because people know that we're basically we're showing you an email, we're showing you the product in the works, basically, which gives them a lot of which generates a lot of interest. So for us, the main and biggest growth hack has been using our own product.
What's on this growth map this year? What are your top 3 growth initiative that you are thinking to put forward?
Yeah, so the interesting question. The main thing is that we are working on our development, like on building the product. So that means that we're going to add stuff to the platform, which is also going to accelerate our growth. For example, we're going to be doing Omni-channel, so like multi-channel. Now we're only doing email, but we're also going to be adding LinkedIn outreach and calls, because a lot of salespeople and AEs, they do cold calls as well. So we do not want to have like sending a lot of emails, but we want to make sure that the other channels are used to warm up the leads, and then the AE can jump on and start speaking to them on the phone. That's an important one. And for us, we're also going to be expanding our sales team. So we're going to be investing in really good salespeople. We found a few that are very interesting, and that means that we're going to have bigger deals. We're going to move towards mid-market companies. Enterprise is too big for us right now, but we're going to move towards big market companies, have higher value deals, and start working from there.
Where can people find out more about you, Steven?
So about me on LinkedIn, of course. So just search me on LinkedIn, Steven Nelemans, and then you'll find me. About Luna, it's actually very simple. The name of the company is Luna AI because our website is luna.ai. So if you just go to luna.ai, then you can find everything about what's going on in our platform, how we're progressing, and if you have any feedback or anything that you are missing or anything that you'd like to see different, then that's the stuff that we love to hear, because then we're gonna start building that.